Tonight is New Year's Eve, and I've got fireworks going on outside there, but I found some really cool old video footage that hasn't seen the light of day for a couple of years now. I bought this 2005 Lincoln Town Car from Insurance Auto Auction. It had a little bit of body damage, but the 3-valve engine and transmission were perfect, so I decided to use that as my donor. If your donor car is like a cop car, a Crown Vic, or a Mercury Grand Marquis, the procedures are all about the same. Same platform here, same engine also. Got pretty lucky on this one. It was an old grocery getter, had about 92,000 miles on it, so this thing was in really good shape and I was happy about that. First things first, I'm just getting the wet stuff out of the engine. First it's the refrigerant, now I'm hooking up the evacuator so I can get the transmission dry. Alright, air hose is disconnected, now you can hear me better. So I can take this tube and connect it to my hard line. Just like that. And now I've got the go button, the valve here. As soon as I open that valve, it's just gonna start pulling transmission fluid out. Really quick too. That vacuum works great. I'm not even gonna mess with the petcock valve. I'm just gonna pull this bottom radiator hose. Should go a lot quicker. It's going to be just a little bit easier to remove the engine and transmission if I don't have to lift it over this core support. So I'm going to go ahead and remove that. And while I'm at it, I'm going to go ahead and take the bumper off too. Because technology. Okay. And we're going to put it vertical. And just set down. Got all the coolers out at once, so that's easier. Just using the scan tool to activate the fuel pump. I'm going to empty the tank into this 5-gallon container here. So the way Ford designed their wiring harness is pretty good, I'll show you. At first I was marking all of these connectors that are on the engine, just with some masking tape and some Sharpie. But over here on the driver's side, this is where the engine computer would be. And this is the multiplex connector that came out of it. It just goes right over to the harness. And there's a couple of connectors there that go to the bulkhead, and that wiring harness comes around to the passenger side to another multiplex that plugs in here. So instead of disconnecting all of these connectors and potentially breaking them or getting them confused, I'm just gonna leave them on the engine and pull all of that out together. The most universal of all tools, the pocket screwdriver. Wanted to walk that off. I did not want to break this little plastic out of the bracket, so I can just disconnect the linkage at the transmission. So why in the world did they use a 19mm nut to hold the shift linkage on? I don't know. But I've got it on a swivel and an extension, so I'm using air just to get this thing off. Well, there's a shifter cable. Put this nut back so I don't lose it. This thing is heavy. It's a beefy little item. Kind of doesn't make sense, but hey, whatever. I'll take it. All right, it's exhaust time. All right, this Nano just got defeated. It's a little 3/8 stubby. So what we're gonna do is grab the 1/2 inch. I'm using an extension and a swivel, so we're gonna need something bigger. All right, shorter extension this time. Yes, I know it's chrome and not the best for this, but it's what I've got. Let's go. That's what the doctor ordered. All right, let's get it. Wow. That thing was on there. Whew. I've got everything unhooked from the bottom of the car, exhaust, drive shaft, and the O2 sensors, so I'm going to let it down, put it on the hoist, and see if I can get both of those out of there. To answer your question, yes, I am using a seat belt as a hoist to lift this engine and transmission. I've got it wrapped around the exhaust manifold. Should hold up okay. This engine doesn't have any lift points to speak of, so it's hard to use chains. I'm just going to use a seat belt. All right, I've got this chain in the front of the engine. I've got to get that engine up this way because the oil pan is not clearing that K-member. I just got to pop it up, get it on top of the K-member, and then I can go back to using my sling. That sounded promising. Okay, so now the oil pan is on top of the K-member where I want it, but the driver's side O2 sensor, bank 1, is sticking out of the exhaust manifold. Here's our holdup. The steering shaft is blocking the entire assembly from coming out because that O2 sensor is hitting it. So I'm gonna have to remove that and then we can keep going. Oops. Forgot the heater hoses. It's not gonna go anywhere with those attached. Let me get those off. Whoa, it moved. Oh yeah. I guess my Boy Scout skills won. The knots held up, strap worked. Let's get it out of here. All right, I'm happy with that. So I'm gonna let this simmer here on the floor, move some things around, and then we'll get started on more of the wiring. For now though, Nuts and Bolts with Tone is live, so I'm gonna join him there. I'll see you next time.